So I met Ira, I think in 2015 was the first time when she had aced the topper of the IAS exams, the toughest exam in India to crack. But you know what? That is not what's surprising. You cracked the exam 4 times. The first time you took the exam was 2010,
Yes.
and you aced it at that time too?
Well, I got through.
You got through. But sadly, in our country, they refused to offer you a seat.
Yes.
And you had to actually have a long journey. Tell us about that.
So basically, in government recruitment, there are 2 criteria for people with disabilities. One is what is your disability? Second is what kind of abilities do you have? And every service has sort of picked which ones they like.
Okay.
There is no actual correlation between the 2.
So there's no one rule for IAS.
Every service has decided that I will take these kind of disabilities and I want them to have these abilities. There is no actual correlation.
Okay.
Because there is no doctor which has certified which ones are correlated. There is no doctor which has decided that these people should be able to do this. There is no medical intervention, person deciding that. There was a meeting, people sat, people decided I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. They kind of tick marked and they just decided we'll take these kind of people. And in my case, my disability was not accepted by any service except the IAS.
So you have scoliosis, right?
I have scoliosis, yes.
And so it was in none of the IAS.
So it's not just scoliosis. The disabilities that they have defined are limb-based.
Okay.
So in my case, mine was acceptable only to the IAS.
Okay.
And none of the other services in the country. That means any government service anywhere in the country, I am not eligible.
Wow.
While when you talk about the abilities required for the services, I am eligible for almost all of them. So this was a crazy case where...
So what did you do? I mean, because
it's absolutely crazy. So to be honest, in the initial part, I was not really aware that this is sort of something that happens, and I knew from my rank that I won't get IS or IFS, which were the 2 things that I was looking for. So I decided to give the exam again. And while I was preparing, I started getting phone calls from other candidates to whom the same thing had happened.
Okay.
They had been rejected from the services simply because somebody did not decide to add their service to the list.
Okay.
Somebody forgot to tick people like them.
Uh-huh.
And these are people who come from poor backgrounds. They've struggled to make it through the exam. They already have so many problems in terms of movement and in terms of really navigating life in an inaccessible world that we live in. On top of that, when they manage to clear an exam like this, they are forced again to go back to courts and again they need to fight. So I decided that is when I started finding out what exactly is the problem. And so this was what had happened in my case. I was rejected simply because while my abilities fit the services, my disability did not fit what they wanted.
There was no checkbox.
Yes. So they did not like my disability and they had not taken me, and hence I could not get it.
And then what happened in the 2014 exam finally?
14 exam is when I topped the exam. So since I'm eligible for IAS, I got IAS. So that happened.
So tell us, I mean, I know that you have fought a long battle. How do you see this changing? Do you see things changing in India?
I hope if more and more people with disabilities come into the system starts figuring out that a disability does not really mean there is a cap on your abilities.
And especially a job like IAS, isn't it more of a thinking job or?
No, it is a lot of field work.
Field work also?
So my policy is, and I absolutely strongly believe in that, give me a job if I can do it. Because there is also one more thing. As an officer, I am working for the people. If I can't work for the people just as much as somebody else can, to give me something, to help me out, to be sympathetic to me, you are being unjust to all the people who have to deal with me as my clients, right? So I do not think we should give jobs to people just out of sympathy. If they can do it, then we should give it.
What are the changes that you feel that you want to bring into the system?
Oh, there are lots of things. So I'm someone who works on what problems I see, and then I work on finding solutions. So I'm a person who looks at something and thinks, okay, this is a problem. Is there a solution that I can find for it? And I work on that. So I've got a lot of plans for, for my kids, for my teachers, for my, people with disabilities. I actually have a lot of projects happening. And we're working big time on waste segregation, green energy. I'm working on redevelopment of certain local markets and kind of cleaning up the city. And
So if you are asked to pick one out of all the projects you are working on, what is that? What is close to your heart?
oh well, like we were discussing, I'm looking to open creches in all my MCD schools. So as an SDM, I worked largely on rescue of children from child labor. In 1 year, I rescued around 340 children and bonded laborers. They were kids who were just above 18, so we called them bonded laborers. And most of them, around 300, were under 18 kids. They were actually kids, and they were all child laborers. And one of the things, and I also saw a lot of problems of substance abuse with kids. In fact, I had started this project on safety zones, child safety zones, but because I moved into the MCD, so that I don't control it anymore. But so one of the things I realized was that the poorer my family is, the more that the mother needs to be the one earning the living, right? And in fact, in poor families, she's the primary breadwinner in a lot of cases, because the men either drink or, men are in all sorts of bad habits, and that cycle continues with sons. So what is happening is, because the mother is working, there is nobody to take care of that child. That mother's child is on the road. Now what happens to that child is that either the child falls into substance abuse, or the child falls into crime, or a crime is committed on that child. So my idea is that poor mother, she is working, she is uneducated, she can't focus on her child because she has to earn that, yes, she has to be the one who feeds that child. And because of that, there is nobody in the system who takes care of her child. The child goes to school for a few hours, and in a lot of these cases, the children actually bunk schools. They, skip out of school walls, and they climb out and they go out. So my idea is that I will try creating safe spaces for these kids to be taken care of till the mother comes back.
Wow, very
That's a
nice.
wonderful
Very
idea.
nice.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Now tell us, I mean, I know there's a lot that you can do, but when we look at the common people, everybody that's out there, what's your message to them, and what's your message to normal people like us or citizens? What should we do?
So you know what, this kind of an idea, it doesn't work with me. I can't run these. I don't have the money for this. I don't have the manpower to run these. I need people from the society to come up. I need companies to give me CSR funding so I can set up these places. I need NGOs and people, volunteers who will come and manage these places. And every single one of us can really contribute something. A simple thing like segregate your own waste. Start recycling. That's it. We save Delhi just if each one of us starts doing that. And we keep waiting for government to push us into doing that. And it's so strange. We are the only country that used to recycle and doesn't anymore. We were the one country that recycled everything, every little scrap of paper.
वाले के पास सब कुछ जा के.
And वो बर्तन खरीदते थे आप पुराने कपड़ों से and
सॉक से बर्तन धुलते थे.
Right, we used to recycle everything as a society. Our grandmothers recycled everything, but the richer we are getting, the more we think we need to pollute the world. We are proving we are rich just by how much pollution we create. So I think if all of us just stop with that, we will turn the world around.
Thank you. Very nice.